locked me off. Let's see. It probably should be starting right about now. Okay, so hi everyone. If you're watching or recording, we're going to start here in just a minute. A little bit behind for playing with a puppy. Let's see. Shall I say chasing a puppy? Not necessarily playing. Okay. Let's see. Is the mic working? The mic is working today. This is good. And alrighty. We are here. It's Monday. It is week 80. Wow. Woohoo. Week 80 and it's September 27th. Oh my gosh, it's almost October, which means VEC is around the corner. I hope you're all registered. It's virtuallyovercrafting.com. If you haven't registered with us or haven't looked into the classes, take a look. There's over 100 classes that were posted, and yeah, we're getting ready to send out kits here in about a week. So get everybody on board so that we can get those kits out on time. So what's happening today? Makeover Monday. We're remaking the Paisley. If you're joining us for the first time, Makeover Monday is a revisit of projects from the last year that I felt might be able to use an update or different twist to the project that might make it a little bit more fun. So today what we're doing is this one. Let's see. Let's zoom in. Okay, there we are. So this was a Paisley earrings, and it went something like this. Okay, well, this is not this match. Where's the match? There's the match. Okay, there's the match. So this was the earrings that we made last year, and this was part of Minimal Metal, which was a series using only 16 and 18 gauge wire to create, I don't know, 30 something projects last year. And so we are revisiting this with this project. And you know what I have found is these makeovers is giving me the opportunity to make things that I've always wanted to make, you know. And actually this whole 80 weeks of making and doing virtual has allowed me the opportunity to work through the sketchbook that has been running for the last few years, actually for the last like 8-9 years, of things I've wanted to get to and never have. And you know, and then it's also been pushing my design skills and things that I didn't think I could ever do. So this is it's pretty fun. And for me, this project with the Paisley, you know, I don't know why, but I've always wanted to make something like this. I don't know. For me, it's about the transition of moving from a flat piece of metal into a wire. And I've always sort of questioned how they do that. And, you know, there's an easy way to approach it and there's a hard way to approach it. So let's talk about it for a minute, okay? Let's zoom in again. And I know that if you were in Indonesia, what they would do, because I've talked to them about it, like, how do you do that? So they actually would start with a piece of sheet metal like so, and then they cut it, and then they would sit here and they would shape and form this, like with a chasing hammer or rawhide mallet on a bench block, and they would literally chase it down to create a really nice, even piece of wire, which I think is totally nuts and so time consuming. So, you know, I was after an easier way of doing it. So that's what we're going to do today. So we're going to put together a piece of sheet metal onto a wire to create a seamless look, as you can see. And I know it's really hard to see in the camera, but it really is seamless. You can't see the transition so much between these two areas, but there is a transition here. All right. So what are you going to need to make today's project? Well, you're going to need a bench block, a center punch, a flex shaft, drill bits. Now, you can have a drill bit of any size that you want. I'm using a size 60 to make these holes. You can use something bigger, you can use something smaller. Whatever your design is going to be is what you'll do. And then you'll need did I say center punch already? A multi-looping plier to make the bend for the earrings, something to drill onto, a piece of scrap wood, or you can even drill onto your bench block. And of course you're going to need a needle file and a saw. Okay, now what's sort of crazy is I have lost my pattern, which I had here just a minute ago. Oh, there it is. Okay. And it would be nice if you had some sort of a pattern to work with instead of freehanding. But you could freehand the whole entire project. I know. I'm notorious for absolutely freehanding everything, but not everybody can draw. By the way, these instructions are available on our website at theurbanbeater.com, and a link has been posted in this video so that you can purchase the downloadable. They're only $5, and it's a way that we can continue to create revenue so that we can continue doing these lives. Now, because this is a makeover and it's a 2.0, if you had purchased the instructions last year for the Paisley earrings, you will get this set of instructions for free. If you haven't, you'll get both. So not only will you get the ones for this, but you will get the one for this. Okay, so you'll have it all together. So it's a twofer. Anyway, all right. So you'll need a pattern of some sort, and this pattern is on the instruction sheet, just so you know. And when you go to print it, it should be printing exact. But you do need to make sure that you check your printer settings and make sure that it is printing it to the exact size and not reducing or enlarging that. Do you hear him? That's Titus. Yes, I've been on puppy maternity all weekend, and he is so close to being housebroken. We went one full day, and then last night we thought we were going to make it to day 2, and at the very last, what do we call it? I don't know, outing to go potty. He had an accident as we were heading out the door. I know, so close. But today's going to be a new day, and it's going to be a good day, right? All right, so anyway, you'll need some 20 gauge sheet metal and some 20 gauge wire. This is key, okay? So you want your sheet metal to match your wire to make the transition a little bit more, to make the transition a little bit more fluid, and it's a lot easier to do when the gauges match, all right? So you'll need enough, obviously, to do 2 of the patterns. So here, what I've got, if I have approximately a 1 inch by 1/2 inch piece of 20 gauge, but I've gone ahead and taken the step to glue them together. All right, I'll show you here, because it does take a minute for it to glue, and I didn't think we'd want to sit around watching glue dry. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and cut it down so that your shape can fit right on there, okay? And then you'll flatten it out on a bench block and you'll glue them together. See, I find that it's easiest when you're making a pair to have the pieces together and to cut them together. That way you can ensure that they are the same. All right, but you do you. You can do them separately if you want. Again, I just find this to be a lot easier. Now, I've glued these together, but I don't know. I still don't have confidence that it'll stay together. So I am actually going to go ahead and tape them. Some people simply tape, but again, just being a little bit particular. A friend of mine doesn't like it when I say anal retentive so many times. So I'm going to say particular about how I am doing this. Okay. So, yes, the puppy is outside. I have him tethered to a leash, and he's barking because he's discovering the world of squirrels. It's funny, when we were sitting here, there is a sliding glass door behind me. He would just sit inside and watch the squirrels eat the nuts because they're all gathering for the winter. And it's hilarious. And anyway, so you know, he's watching them do this, and he's just sitting here growling, and they're staring right back at him. They're practically doing a dance going, "Huh, bet you can't catch me." It's pretty funny. Anyway, okay, so now we're going to take a little bit of rubber cement, and we're going to put some on both pieces, like so. And we're going to let it dry for a second. Rubber cement dries quickly, so it's okay to watch, watch glue dry. Okay. So when you're using rubber cement, you do want both sides to dry because it will create a stronger bond. All right. Another second here. Put it right down on there like so. All right, so first things first, I'm going to go ahead and saw out the shape. If you're strong enough, you can go ahead and use your shears and get that started, but it's pretty thick, so I'm going to go ahead and saw it. Let's get my bench pin out. Okay, oops. Couldn't find the clamp that was directly next to me. Hi. Yes, it's called Puppy on the Brain. You're liking the puppy noises in the back. So I'm figuring that it's going to be another week or so before the puppy can make a guest appearance, because he's still a little wild, and I'm not even clear how to get him to, settle down without me sitting right next to him. It's a thing. It's a thing. Okay, hold on. Let's switch cameras. Okay. There we go. Let's take a look. Okay. So there we are. Let's move you over just a little bit. Like that. Oh, there we go. Okay. And where's my saw? So with the saw, a little bit of cut lube is nice. It helps it glide. But some people say you don't need it. I prefer it. On this one, you do you. Okay, so I'm just going to put the piece, if you notice, between the V to give it some leverage so that I don't have a piece that's flailing. So we're just going to saw, and we're going to follow the pattern. Your eyes should always be in front of the saw blade and not behind. That way you know where you're going. And you should also make a decision, depending on your pattern and how you drew it and how you got there, is you want to make sure that you always either do the inside line or the outside line. All right, to turn a corner, I'm going to stand in place, and notice I'm going straight up and down in one place as I'm turning, so that I don't create a radius, because I want to make sure that I have a really nice tight turn. Also notice I'm using the entire saw blade and not doing these little motions, okay? That's important. I'm using copper today, and because I've already made a pair in silver, but you can use whatever metal you want to use. And I'm choosing to go with 20 because I want to match my earring wire more than anything. That's what's important to me. You could go to 22. 24 is quite thin. And the other thing too is if you transition from a 20 gauge earring wire to a 24 piece of sheet metal, it's going to take a bit of work. So it's all about that transition and why I chose to use the gauge metal that I did. Okay. Lubricate as needed. So I lubricate every so often. I can't say I did a great job sawing here today, but you get the idea. There we go. Okay. Here's my shape. Not too bad. Okay, so now we want to center punch wherever we want to drill holes. So inside of these elements, we're going to go ahead and center punch in there, and then we'll drill those holes. All right, so we'll take out our bench block. Let's move this out. And we'll start center punching everything. All in one shot, that makes it a lot easier. I'm just going to put myself in the center of each one of these elements, okay? So as you can see, right in the center. Now you could, instead of drilling, once you pull this apart, you could just use like a hand punch. But I find that they're a little bit bigger than what I wanted for my design, and that's why I did not choose to do it that way. Okay? So the question is, why wouldn't you drill the holes before you saw it out? You know, I thought about that, and the thing is, I didn't want my pattern to shift. And so for me, this was best. But if it works for you the other way, I can't see why you couldn't do it the other way. Okay? All right, so let's get our flex shaft prepped here. And notice how I'm always holding my hand right under the drill bit to keep it level, or else it has a tendency to fall over and not be even. So let's take a look. We're going to go ahead and tighten in 2 areas to help it straighten out. Oops, and that is not straight. Wow. Okay. Okay, there we are. There we go. Make sure it's straight before you start drilling. All right. Let's go ahead and drill here as opposed to the other camera. A little bit of cut lube and drilling. So we're going to drill through both of the pieces. All right. There's another one. So as much as I am trying to keep these pieces together, they're shifting just, and it fell apart right there. Okay, that's not good. So I'm going to try to move them back, and I'm just going to hold them together while I finish. I only have 2 more to drill. So let's put this in and see if I can get that lined up again. Good. So I had used super glue or CA glue to put them together, FYI. Okay. So they did come apart. Not good. So I'm going to glue them back together. Actually, I'm going to tape them back together. And I'm going to put the other pattern back on. Or the second. I have a second copy. We'll see. We shall see. Okay. I'm sorry, honey. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to try to tape them back together, and then I'm going to put my, oh, that doesn't work either. Hold on, I got to think about this for a second. I got to glue it back together, because if I tape it, I can't see where my holes are. Whoops. Whoops. Okay. Yes, I did decide to use super glue and not rubber cement because I wanted something stronger. But you know what? Since I've got my rubber cement sitting right here and the super glue over there, let's see if that works any better. I was thinking that the super glue should have worked better. Or the CA glue. Same thing. But it didn't. I mean, it was pretty tight when I checked it earlier. So, I don't know. Whatever it takes to get them to hold together. These pieces are really, really small, so you can't exactly clamp them either. Wait, did I do that wrong? I did that wrong. I put the glue on the wrong side. Wait. Oh, yeah, I put the glue on the wrong side. All right, let me wipe it off. Try that again. Okay, glue. Make sure it's nice and dry. I'm spreading it out a little bit. Okay. All right, let's see. Okay. Let's put you back on. I'm lining up the holes. I'm lining up my shape. Looks pretty good. Let's trim this down a bit. Yes, I'm using my curved shears. We'll glue that. And if you can't get this to work, then you'll just have to saw it separately. You know, my effort here is to try to keep them exactly the same, which is not always easy. You know, don't know how precise of a sawer you really are. Okay. Oops. Blowing. Let's see. Let's see if it's moving any. Jeez. I do not have that much confidence here, but I think I'm just going to go ahead, now that I have it on, I'm going to go ahead and tape at least part of it. Better safe than sorry, right? So I'm going to tape this part of it. Just trying to keep things together, that's all. And then I'm going to take a little piece of tape and tape the side, another side together. Here. Again, just, you know, trying to keep it together here. All right. And then assuming I can find my hole, I'm going to poke it through the paper. Okay, maybe not poke it through the paper. Where's my hole? I know, it sounds like a personal problem, huh? Ugh. Cute. Okay, I know there's a hole in here somewhere. It's going down a really bad road right now. Oh my gosh. Where is this hole? Wait. I'm gonna find an awl. Oh, there it is. There's one. And there's the other one. Okay, let's not use the wire then. All right, let's switch over cameras. There we are. So now we're going to put the pieces into your saw blade. Make sure that the pattern is facing up so that you can see where you are going. Okay. A little bit of cut lube. All right, so here we go again. So remember the pattern is facing up so you can see what's going on. And now we're just gonna saw out this shape. Oh! And I broke my saw blade. Just like that. So we're going to adjust the length of the saw and just continue using the saw blade that we have, then we don't waste. Alright, tighten it up. Okay, and we're gonna saw like so. Oh, and I just broke it again. You know, I'm freaking out about the dog out there. OMG. What are we barking about? It's gotta be a squirrel. I'm guessing it's a squirrel out there. It can't be the coyotes. The coyotes don't come out at this hour. Yes, the things we have to think about living where we live. Okay, don't want that saw blade. Too heavy. So I'm using a 2/0 saw blade. That's considered a standard. I would not go any larger. If anything, I would go smaller if you don't have a 2/0. Okay. Let's see. Like so. Of course, I tighten it, and I forgot to put my piece in. Oops. Okay, third time's a charm, right? Okay. And just follow that shape around. I think going forward, I'm going to have to put him upstairs. Outside of our leash doesn't seem to be working. He's been quiet all morning without a single bark. Okay, so again, just following your shape up to that tight corner. Whoa. Nice long strokes, just like so. Long strokes are better than short strokes because it produces a much more smooth line. And we're turning as we go. There it is. Okay. Now, when you take this apart, apart and you find that you have little jagged lines, I find one of the easiest things to do to fix that is to use a saw blade like you would a file, just smoothing out those edges. So you might find that helpful, but it's a very, very gentle hand to do this. Don't get too aggressive with it or else you're going to cause bigger problems. Of course, you can pull out your needle file, and file inside of there. All right, so I'm not going to saw out the other areas. I think you get the point. But I wanted to point out that in my design, I decided to go ahead and freeform it, and to create these little lines. Those were just saw lines. So I punched a couple more holes and I just sawed 2 lines, 2 curves to create that little swirl. So when you want to create those little details, you can just use your saw to do that. Now if you want those details to be a little bigger, use a heavier, use a heavier saw blade, okay? That's how you would do that. We'll take this apart. Hey honey, do you see that on there about some Muhammad person? Okay, so apparently we have a spammer on the site. Shame on you. Okay, so here I'm just going to go ahead and take out my file on my bench pin, and I'm going to file those edges smooth. Oops. This will also help me. This will also help me reshape my piece. And it's nice that they are together, because this way I can ensure that they are the same shape. And you know what, here, because my design is supposed to have a little swoosh in here, I'm going to pull out my half round file and just put it right in here to create that swoosh. You're just going to keep going until you're happy with the shape that you have. Alright, I'm not going to do this forever because, again, it's like watching paint dry, right? And I keep dropping it. Alright, so once you glue this, if you can't get it apart, all you have to do is put a little bit of heat on there and the glue will release. Really quite simply. Okay. Oh, but look. And there are my pieces. Not bad? Not fantastic either, but anyway, you get the point. Alright, let's switch over cameras. Okay. Take this stuff out. Alright, so once you have reshaped this and you're all happy with it, you might want to hit it with some sandpaper to get a nice smooth edge on it. Alright. And of course, what I like to do, as I always like to do, is I like to do it on a slight angle to create a radius around the edges. I'm also going to lop off that top because it's a little too pointy, and I want to prep it a little bit for soldering. It'll make a nicer, again, it's about the transition to the wire. There we go. Okay, there we are. Okay, hold on a second. I'm going to turn off the mic for just a second. You know what I'm going to do. Let's see if that works. Okay, so nice and smooth. Make sure that you also, if you have there's any burrs, make sure that you also sand it on its face. Okay, this will again give it a nice finish, and it makes you it makes it look a little more professional. Okay. There we go. All right. I know. I don't know why I'm still doing this, but I'm doing this. I'm still shaping it. Okay. I gotta let it go already. Let's just move on. All right. Okay, so let's pull out the solder board. And you may want to use a honeycomb soldering board for this. So it would hold in place while you work. Okay? And I'm going to use these holes to my advantage so it doesn't move anywhere. And I'm just pinning it down. With your wire, actually I'm going to straighten it out before I solder it on. It'll make my life easier in the end. So between two bench blocks, straighten this out as much as I can first. You can use your nylon nose pliers to do this. I like to roll it. I find that it gets it straighter than any other process. You know, I'm sitting here trying to remember who taught me this. It's like years and years ago. Somebody taught me this. And I just thought it was really a great way to go. So whoever it was, thank you. Okay. So you want this piece to be about 2.5 to 3 inches, depending on what your design is. Okay, so I've already made a critical mistake here. You see that? You see it's teetering off. Too far off the board. Let's give myself more room to work with. This. There we are. And then this end here needs to be nice and blunt. So it makes for a flush connection here, like so. And the reason why, again, we are using the same gauge wire is to make sure that this transition is easy to do. Okay? If you do this in silver, you won't see the connection at all. In copper, well, maybe not so much, but I'm going to go ahead and pin this too and help myself just a little bit. There we are. Make sure it's touching. All right. Grab some solder. You can use any solder you want here. Because I'm doing copper, I'm using copper solder. If you're doing silver, you can use hard, medium, or easy. It doesn't really matter. Just put a little tiny bit right at the connection. Like so. Okay, we're gonna do this. If you're doing silver, make sure you heat the whole thing and then heat that joint. But because we're doing copper, we only need to get right there at that joint. Okay, my solder's moved off. So I'm gonna help it, there it is, make the connection. I don't know if you saw that, but it started creeping away, so I sort of just helped it a little bit and pushed it back. If you have a solder pick, that's what you would use it for. Okay. There it is. So you can see it's nice and together. So to create that seamless transition, actually let's go ahead and pickle this first. And then we'll sand it. Okay. I've never used the question is, have you ever used a steel bench block against a hard rubber block? I can see how that would work pretty well. I've never used it because frankly, it's so funny as I was putting together this project today, grabbing all the parts and pieces. It's like, oh, it'd be nice to have a rubber block. I don't know why I don't have one, but I really do need. It's somewhere here, somewhere. It's not. It's not anywhere convenient, but it would probably work. It obviously would work very well. So that's another way to go too. And with the rubber block, you could also put a mallet to it on your earring wire and harden the earring wire. So that's another great way to go if you don't want to flatten your earring wire. Okay, my piece is still in the pickle. It'll be coming out here in just a minute. Cleaning up my workspace here just so we have a clean spot to work with. Okay. All right, let's check the pickle. Nice. Rinse. Okay. Here we are. See, you can see that I don't have a beautiful transition, but all it's going to take, but I'm going to double check, make sure I actually have a nice solder joint. All it's going to take is a little bit of sanding. But because this is copper, you will always see the connection. So the only thing you can do with copper is to just try to refine it the best that you can. I'm going to go to something heavier here. So I just moved on to 400 grit just to make it a little nicer. In silver, this will all just disappear. But you can barely see it. Even as magnified as I am, you can barely see it now. We'll do the back side too. You see the solder bled? But that will come off with sanding. Be careful though, don't sand too much up to the wire because you don't want to thin out the wire. So be careful to just sand where you want to remove that solder. I'm going to pull out my tongue depressor here because I think I can get in there a little bit easier. Yep, with the tongue depressor. Then I won't be sanding my wire. Okay. You see, it's starting to disappear a little bit at a time. It will go away. This just takes time. But again, it's about creating that smooth transition. Like that. Okay? Clean this up with some steel wool, some sandpaper, whatever makes you happy paper. A brass brush would work too. I think I'm going to leave this matte. I like my stuff matte. And if you need to, pull out your needle file and file the inside of that shape just to create smoothness, right? So just like so. You can definitely get in there, depending on how big your shape is. Like so. You can definitely use parts and pieces that go onto your flex shaft to do this kind of work. But there we are. Pretty simple, pretty easy. You see I have a slightly straight edge here. It's not as round as I would have liked it. I would just put in a little round or half round file and file that shape. Unless you really want to use your saw, you could put your saw back in there and reshape it. As you can see, I'll show you here in a second. It's going to reshape very quickly. You see? There it is. It's a nice shape. So it just takes a little bit of work. These are the fine details that make pieces really special, is when you take out the time to do that. And then we're just going to bend the earring wire, and I'm using the largest part of my multi-looping plier. Okay, up to you how you want this to hang. If you wanted this to hang lower, then go up the wire a little bit before you make your bend. But just bend it around like so. Okay. And I like to do a little backwards bend thing. I don't know why. I feel like it holds better if I just do that. Okay. So at probably about 20 degrees, 25 degrees, not at 45. And we'll just trim that there. And again, we'll just sand and file that edge down just a little bit so it is not sharp. If you have a cup burr, you can go ahead and cup burr the wire end, and that will make it really nice. But that is it in a nutshell. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Let's see. Actually, I have cut strip of sandpaper, and I put it in my saw blade and smooth out the sides cut. Okay, so someone just commented that they have cut pieces of sandpaper. Oh, you mean like this? That you put inside of a saw blade, and they're using the saw blade because it gives them a handle. And you know, I thought about that for this piece, but it was just, this piece was so stinking small that I was like, yeah, no. But hey, again, it's all about making it work for you. If that works for you, I think that's fantastic. But you know, another thing you could have done too is, or I could have done, is put this into a ring clamp. Let's grab one real quick. Ring clamp. Oh. Because my contention is just, it's so small. How do you hold it? So you can put in a ring clamp, and maybe that will be helpful. Okay. But I don't know who made that comment, honey. Who made that comment? Marcy. So, but what Marcy is saying is, you take a little bit of sandpaper like this, and you put it in here, like so. And mind you, you do need a little bit better quality sandpaper to be able to do this, or else it's just going to rip. Okay. Which somehow I feel like I'm about to do here in a second. Okay. So this is what she is suggesting here. Oh. I put it on the wrong piece. I meant to put it on this piece. Whoops! Again. Okay. Okay. Not so easy. Not so easy. Stop rolling. Okay. Wow, who knew this is going to be the most challenging part? Sure, to get the wrong. Okay. How about I help myself and put the knob facing up so I can manage it, huh? Duh. And now I can't get it in. There we go. Oh, jeez. Killing me. It's killing me. Okay, we'll try it again. Feel free to jump out and tell me what I'm doing wrong here. There we go. Tighten it out just a little bit. Okay, so this is what Marcy is suggesting, which is really a great suggestion. And something that you can definitely do. Now again, if you have it particularly inexpensive sandpaper, the paper is so thin that it's just going to rip. So be careful when you're doing that, okay? Or whatever you're deciding to use. Don't get frustrated. Just understand that those are the challenges. Okay. So as you can see, that's how you would do it if you want to use sandpaper. You know, another thing too that would have made this a lot more helpful is if you put this into a vise. So you notice how I was struggling because this thing was rolling all over the place. Put it into a vise. It's a little bit easier to hold on to, and then you can do the sandpaper thing, and then you'll have, you know, you'll have a free hand instead of struggling, and then this won't be going all over the place. But hopefully that is a good tip. Thanks, Marcy, for sharing that. And anyway, so that's it for me today. That's how we made the Paisley 2.0. Again, the instructions are on our website. You could search for Paisley earrings, and the instructions will come up for you. They're $5 to download, and it's a great way to show your support for what we're doing here. We are live on four platforms. We're on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. If you are an Amazon subscriber, it is free on Twitch, and I get paid. So do subscribe to the Q Farm Gray Twitch page, and I get to be paid, and you get to do it for free. Anyway, we really appreciate your support. I'll be back on Wednesday. I'm going to finish Pam's project of setting the opal nugget, and then on Friday we have a Zoom short, which is a free Zoom with purchase of kit, and we're doing the balancing act. I don't have it right here, of course, because it's Monday. Anyway, so the balancing act, you know, it may look really simple, but it's all about how we're going to go through how to balance a piece when it's a little off-centered, or we have one place that's heavier than the other, and or one side that's heavier than the other, and how we can find the balance on a piece. So that's it for now. I'll be back on Monday. What are we doing on Monday? I don't know. Oh, it's October. I haven't put up the October schedule yet, but I will this week, and I don't know what I'm doing. We'll figure it out. I think we're starting the scrap series is what we're starting. So for now, I'm going to say bid you all adieu, and I'm going to go get the puppy if you want to hang out. I'm going to leave this on for another 2 minutes. I'm going to go get the puppy, and he can come say hi, okay? I'm sure he'll be really happy about it. Okay, I'll be right back. Other than that, have a great rest of the week. Titus! Titus! Come on. Come on, baby. Come on. Let's see. Hi, baby. Hi. Okay, this is Titus. He already got his first trim. Lynn came over and helped me last week give him a haircut. He's already had 2 baths because his mommy doesn't like him stinky. And he knows how to go outside to go potty, huh? For the most part, you're doing okay. Oh, okay. So, okay. So this is Titus. Yeah. All right. We'll have an open house one day on Zoom and have you all be introduced to Titus. Outside of that, have a great day. We're going to go potty now. Bye.